is November 1st, and today is the day Shady is beginning the new sewer project. Very exciting situation. Long time coming. Last summer, summer of 2022, the city actually ran the sewer line along US 23, and now this year we get to connect to it, which is awesome. It's a pretty elaborate process. I mean, basically we're building a tiny subdivision here. At Shady we've got 6 septic systems, separate, 6 separate systems. For a couple of the cabins share one. That's why we've got more cabins than septics. But for the most part, yeah, we've got a lot of septics. So process is basically like building a mini subdivision here. We're going to be breaking up the previous constructs. You got to get them emptied out, which is happening today, and then the excavators will come in and cut the lines to the old units. We will trench and run lines for the new units, which will go all the way through the property. We got to basically rip everything up. So it's going to be an extensive amount of groundwork that we have to do, and then crush the old systems, fill them in with backfill, and that's it. Then we're done. So that will change the dynamic of how many actual beds we can have, because the amount of beds that we are allowed to have at Shady is directly tied to our septic capabilities. And in general, the septic field was starting to fail. I mean, this is hand-built stuff. When we say septic, what you might expect from a modern septic system in suburban Metro Detroit is not necessarily going to be what you're talking about up there. We're talking about hand-built dry wells from the 1940s and 50s. And when I say dry well, what that means is in a regular septic system, a modern septic system, you're going to have a couple tanks, basically, one or two, depending on how the system's set up. Sometimes it's one box with 2 chambers, but you'll have the first tank where everything comes into from the toilet and everything else, and from there it will the liquids will, the solids will go to the bottom, the liquids will rise to the top, move on to the next tank, and then eventually out through a leach field, which is a series of pipes, perforated pipes that are run to a specific engineered standard across a specific area to leach the liquids away in an environmentally non-concentrated way, right? So that's the quick and dirty. So a dry well is basically the second tank. Instead of it going into a leach field and being distributed, basically the dry well is just another tank with no bottom. So all the liquids just go into the second tank and then perforate down. Being that there is sand along the coastline for eastern Michigan, it perks well. So basically it's any liquids that hit that just go straight down, because the sand is not compacted too tightly. It's very porous, allows water to penetrate easily. So there rarely is any ramifications from that standpoint. And these are minimally used too. I mean, really, they're only, 4 or 5 months out of the year, and really only 3 months are they getting any kind of consistently heavy use, because they're vacation properties, right? So, yeah, that's basically what's going on here. And based on modern code, we actually would not even have the ability to put those obviously we wouldn't be able to put what's there now in again, but we wouldn't even be able to update what's there should they fail. So if something was to die, one of those septic systems was to go under on us and cease to function or crack or develop further issue to the point where it was unusable, basically we have no recourse. We would not be able to put a septic field in, because there's not even enough physical space on the property to build a leach field large enough to be conforming with modern code. So all that said, the sewer is a good thing, even though the timing of it isn't the best, since we just had to deal with some major shoreline work because of the sea levels throughout the COVID period. Lake levels, not sea levels, even though it feels like a sea. Definitely is. It's just fresh water with no sharks, but it's a sea. So anyway, that's what's happening today, and I'm going to record it all and time-lapse it. I got a fancy new GoPro that makes it easier to record, because I have recorded a lot of content over the years that just dies in limbo because the device I've recorded it on is too loaded with other things to find all of my content again. So I've got this GoPro hopefully to avoid that in the future. So let's go see. Well, we're pulling up on Shady here. It is still pretty nice out. Fall leaves are beautiful up here, but no snow on the ground, which is going to make this easier. Also helpful since everything is not winterized up here, and we have mild concerns about water lines freezing. And we can't shut them down yet because we have to do the sewer first, and we need to be able to tap. But we're pulling up here to Shady, and let's get this adventure started. Let's put a sewer in. So it looks like Brandon and the team at Tawas Excavation has already got well into this project here. Basically, we've got 7 cabins, or 1 and 2 share a gray water field. 1 has its own septic, 2 has its own septic, 3 has its own septic, and 4 has its own septic. And here we have cabins 5 and 6. They share a system that's in between. And here we have 7, which also has its own. If we come over here, I assume the guys went to lunch. So here is the approximate location for the septic in 5 and 6. We're going to trench those down, and right underneath the sidewalk here, I won't walk across that, but goes all the way across. We're making quite a bit of progress already. And here we've got 7s also trenched out. Now we have to pitch these correctly, so the sewers run in the right direction, so all sewers have to be pitched to the correct depth. The place that we're actually joining it out to, where the tap is in the street, is approximately 6 feet down. So luckily, because of the pitch of the entire property here, we have that ability without having to get a pump or anything like that. So basically, this is the line that is getting run all the way down, and it pitches up higher towards the water line. So we've got some help there, because if not, we would have to install a pump and pump out anything that came down the line so it got to where it was supposed to go. Looks like we don't have that concern here. So all in all, a really strong start. It's looking good. I'm looking forward to it. Well, we've waited a long time to get this actually done, and it's pretty satisfying that it is being done. Putting a lot of pipe in right now. We're putting about 550 feet of pipe in the ground to be the new sewer system here, and lot's only like 150 feet deep, I think. So it looks a little larger just because on the other side of our power line, it's not actually our property, it's easement for the road that they decided not to develop when they closed the military base here. So it makes the property appear much larger, but it's still not a whole ton of distance to get to 550 for that amount of pipe. But it turns out with all the different angles and offshoots that they have to do, it adds pretty dramatically to the actual amount of pipe in the ground. So a lot of plastic for poop, a lot of poop pipe.
Always cut once.
One of the elements of this is once, you know, you've actually got the lines run, yeah, now we have to worry about cleanouts because this is a fairly elaborate system. So we're having them install these cleanouts every, at least every cabin, around every cabin. So basically it's just a junction that runs up and it will pop up to the surface. We'll put caps on them. So then in the event that we need to get down there and access anything, we can run sneaks through it. So we're putting those all over the place. A lot of work for poop. Finally, the most important one, ours, cabin one. I spent more time dealing with this frickin' septic than any other septic in my life, and it's disappearing. Finally. Oh. Hey.
Si, senor.
Good morning.
Looks beautiful, don't it?
That's quite the drop.
Yeah. Difference in that one holding it down and this one. So.
It happens.
Yeah. Well, it's the difference of them cabins being up on the hill. Everything being up nice and high.
Shove that pipe in there real quick.
Huh?
Shove
yeah.
Just to make it look like it's done.
Yeah.
That'll work.
With that, we have a sewer installed. Now the backfilling begins. It's a lot easier than shoveling by hand. A lot of dirt going back down. So skilled on these giant machines, it's absolutely insane. I mean, we're going around some of these pipes with the excavator, this giant bucket, and they were like an inch from it on every side, and they couldn't even see it. Like, they'd have to put the bucket in front of the pipe, and they got like an inch to it, and they didn't touch it. Like, this guy running the bulldozer now, this guy did the grading for some of the rocks by the beach, and he's driving that big monstrosity along one inch from the water and 1 inch from the decks, and he just like doesn't even care. It's insane how good they are. And I love these things. I like driving them, and but damn, I mean, that kind of precision you only get after you've been doing this for a long time. It's like an extension of their body. I bet they're really good at video games. Well, after years of fretting and consternation about exactly how much it was going to cost to connect to the sewer, and how much work would be involved, how much destruction would be wrought on the property, how long it would take, how difficult it would be, and what other complications there were to be concerned with. It is now completed. We have finished the project. Brandon and his team at Tawa Sand, Gravel, and Excavating are absolutely awesome. And if you're in Iosco County and you need work done for any of this kind of stuff, whether it's digging a basement or putting a foundation down or a septic or connecting to a sewer, absolutely get a hold of them. I mean, they've been doing stuff for us for a while. They helped us drop rocks to protect our shoreline. They helped us regrade our property several times with gravel and clean it all up and everything. And now they've done this project, which was considerable. So what we're now left with is freshly laid gravel, and it's like nothing actually happened here, to be honest. They actually even added some more gravel over by our dumpster space, so that's going to be even easier for our dumpster guy to come and get his stuff. So if you you saw how exactly, how wrecked it was. You already saw that on the previous videos. Obviously we have to do some landscaping here. That's not in Brandon's purview, and that's actually something we've wanted to do for a long time, is more specifically landscape this property to get it exactly how we wanted it to be. But there was no point in doing any of that until this had happened. So it's been several years of waiting, basically. We have clean outs, so we've got them installed all up and down the row, so it will be very easy to continue to maintain this. And yeah, it's almost like there wasn't giant 6-foot trenches running for 500 feet all over this property just a day ago. So collectively, this entire project took from start, in the ground, until completed, finished, 3 days. So 3 work days. So I mean, you're talking 9 to 5. That's pretty considerable as far as what needed to be done, and that included all of the moving parts. We had the city come out and inspect. We had Ron from Oscoda Septic come in and clean out the septic system, so when we crush them or whatever, there wasn't just the funk that you don't want in your ground. So all of it was above board. Every permit was pulled, everything was done correctly and the way it's supposed to be done, and 3 days. So not even a full complete 3 days. They were done probably around about an hour ago. So yeah, you can see now what was so recently utterly chaos, utterly destroyed, complete chaos. So thanks for coming along for this little trip. Definitely a lot of weight off my shoulders. I think it's probably beer 30 at this point, but I can't because I have to drive back home because we got stuff going on downstate. So anyway, thank you very much, and come check us out. ShadyShoresOscoda.com. You also find us at ShadyShoresCabins.com. We're booking out for summer of 2024 right now. So take care, guys. See you soon.